Oh, I know what. I was talking about a lifetime in which I seem to be dealing an awful lot with my pride and my ego. And he said he can't believe that because I don't appear to be that kind of a person. And for one thing, I reminded him, being afraid of what people will say is ego also.
And that's probably third chakra, by the way,
Okay.
because it's your sense of power and safety in the world is on the line.
Now, today, I am happy to welcome back Lynn Sparrow Christy, and we are going to talk about different archetypes she has found in her 30 plus years of doing past life regression hypnosis. And these are archetypes she has found in people's past lives. So let's welcome back Lynn Sparrow Christy.
I am happy to be with you again, Carol. We always have such fruitful conversations. And these themes that I'll be talking about are kind of drawn from the literature, and I have seen them borne out in my personal work, but I didn't develop these ideas. I think it's important to say. I don't know whether your viewers, listeners would be familiar with the concept of the seven chakras. Is it okay if we go there and talk
I
about
think that would be fine. And to tell you the truth, I don't know what my viewers know because they're just
yeah.
are attracted to the topic. So can you just explain quickly the seven chakras, especially how you see them?
The most common number talked about, and if
Okay.
you go back into the literature of the East and some of the earlier Western esoteric information, there's general agreement that there are 7 places where the flesh body, the energetic body, the emotional and mental bodies, all of these layers of who we are there is a mediation of the unseen energy through these vortexes of energy that keep us alive, and that are it isn't just that the body is this container and there's this soul rattling around inside it. The body is an integral meshing of the non-physical and spiritual with the flesh. And spirit is animating the entire flesh being, but it flows in some concentration points. Picture them as funnels or vortexes of energy at 7 classic places in the body. And they would be most typically at the base of the spine and moving up, in the lower belly area, just above the navel, at the level of the heart, in the throat, in the head, tied to the pituitary and the pineal gland, located as the 6th and 7th chakras in the head. These chakras not only mediate energy, but they hold the patterns of what we have done with the energies of life itself. So, for example, the root chakra at the base of the spine is related to our basic sense of safety and security in the world. Am I going to have enough to eat? Will I have a roof over my head? Will marauding tribes come in and kill my whole family? So some of our most primeval needs and fears are thematically tied to the first chakra. And interestingly, this correlates also with our time as a newborn. A newborn is a great big first chakra. Feed me, change me, keep me safe, don't drop me. It's all about that. So anytime you find a theme that's about safety, about being secure relative to material needs of any kind, that is a theme that is related to the first chakra. And that's a very common past life theme because we've all had experiences. If you take a long enough view of history, we have probably all gone hungry. We have probably all been attacked by some other tribe. We have probably all had the rug pulled out from under us sometime, someplace. That's a first chakra issue. The second chakra, which is in the lower belly area, is much more concerned with the realm of imagination, sexuality, the division between masculine and feminine. It has to do with creativity. And so themes related to past lives where we have used or abused sexual abilities, where we have used or abused creative abilities, where we have used or abused the imaginative forces within us, would be second chakra issues. It's been said that the second chakra is the seat of the soul in the earth. At the level of the second chakra is where you really begin to feel like you identify with the body, its appetites, its urges, its desires, its instincts. And in human development, this is what a human is going through during the so-called terrible twos. They are a primal something where a self is coming into awareness, is finding itself meeting the world. When you get to the third chakra, which is higher in the body, generally it's considered to be somewhere above the waist, above the navel, there's where a sense of symbolic power and security in the world resides. Where at the first chakra, it's literal. Is my body safe? By the time you're dealing with the third chakra, you're dealing with what is my standing, my power as an ego in this world? And by the way, I'm not using the word ego as a bad thing. An ego is a self with which we navigate in this life. But at that level of the third chakra, we are dealing with issues of power or lack of it, standing, courage or cowardice. This is the chakra that would have a lot to do with old memories of war, of power plays, or feeling powerless in the world. So in that example you gave a little while ago, I would say that hypothetical person has fairly strong third chakra issues going on. And again, it's important to remember that the energies of each of these centers has a positive, functional, life-affirming version and a distorted, disruptive, life-interrupting version. So a healthy third chakra is one that has a healthy sense of self, that understands the boundaries of what you deserve or don't deserve, what is just natural for you to say, yes, I have a right to this, versus an arrogance that says I have a right to everything. It is a healthy ego, is essentially what we're looking at.
Lynn, I want to clarify, which example are we talking about?
The person with the wealth and the power who is
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just wanted to clarify.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
When we get to the fourth chakra, which in the physical body is closest to the heart, this is where human love and affiliation issues come in. Do I fit in with the group? Are they accepting me? Am I loved by somebody? And this is the center of human love. And it is therefore also where themes related to jealousy, possessiveness, again, the distorted or afflicted version of fourth chakra energy would be, those past life sagas of love lost and jealousy and being betrayed by loved ones. It's all about personal love, and in its most glorious and in its most wounded. So that's why often a healing at the level of the heart can lead to so much overall healing in a person, because in the body, the heart is in the center. I mean, it's the middle of these seven chakras. The three that precede it have to do with basic needs and safety and security and finding one's way. As we talk about the three that come next, those are all about moving into the higher consciousness. You can almost think of the heart as the fulcrum between the self making its way in the world and the self opening itself to the heavens. When we get to the fifth chakra, which tends in most systems to be located in the throat area of the physical body, and it's important to remember that these things have very important correlates in the energy body, and I know we haven't really gone into other levels of body, but the emotional body and the mental body and so on. The fifth chakra, which is often associated with will and also with having one's voice, because of course that's right where we have the vocal cords, and a lot of times we have problems with the voice if we're not feeling like we have a voice. It's common for people to feel like their throat is closing or they're choking if they are not feeling an ability to freely express. That fifth chakra is about self-will versus a greater purpose in the world. So that when one begins to think, my life matters to more than just me. My life is about more than whether I'm happy, whether I'm loved, whether I have enough to eat, whether I feel confident. When we start to contemplate, what is my place in the world? How can I serve? What is the meaning of my life in the context where I'm living as a member of this family, as a member of this nation, as a member of the human race, and so on? That is where fifth chakra energies come in, because we are really working with the finding of a balance between will related to ourself and will related to a higher purpose. The sixth chakra is related to higher vision, the ability to allow those energies that enter in at that level to awaken us to things unseen, to how we manifest divinity while being human beings, because of course, one of the premises of reincarnation is that we all are parts of the divine, what we call God, and that we are projections of that God into billions of human bodies. And it's at the level of the sixth chakra that our vision related to that comes into play. And so that's the level of psychic functioning, and the use or abuse of psychic abilities in past lives will be a thematic thing that comes in related to that chakra. And then the seventh
Wait, hold on, Lynn.
Go ahead.
I just want to ask, I get confused. Which one is the third eye, the sixth or the seventh?
Well, you have opened a can of worms, and I'm not sure we want to go into it.
Okay, then let's not.
Some systems would say that the third eye is related. We have the pineal. Let's not go there.
Okay.
There are differing perspectives, but the third eye, we can say this much. The third eye is the one slightly above and between the eyebrows. That much we can say. What there is some is that the sixth or the seventh chakra is the question where there are differing points of view. But kind of moving to number 7, that is the full undifferentiated flow of universal consciousness into a human awareness. So at the level of the 7th chakra, you're even beyond psychic vision. You are at a level of just oneness with the divine.
Okay, then I guess about the reason I asked about the third eye is that, the fourth chakra was, where the heart is. The fifth was in the neck. We talked about the vocal cords,
right?
The will. So what would the sixth and seventh correlate in the
right? Yeah. And there's where the can of worms starts.
Okay.
In the system that I am most comfortable with, and it is the sixth chakra is related to the pineal gland, and it is the level of the third eye. And some of the evidence for that, we know now that the pineal gland has to do with perception of light. It has much to do with our ability to be in a circadian rhythm of light and dark. There is retina-like tissue that makes up the pineal gland, so that when, for example, it maybe in a meditative experience, someone may see flashes of light or kind of pulses of a purpley light. That is generally considered to be the activation of the third eye. And, that's some believe that when Jesus said, "If thine eye be single, your whole body is full of light," that is a reference to the vision at the level of the third eye. And then in that system, the pineal gland, the pituitary gland is aligned with the 7th chakra. And the pituitary being the master gland of the body that is in charge of all of the things going on hormonally. That makes sense. But there are some systems that would put the pineal gland as the crown because it is so receptive to and responsive to the light.
But enough. Because what I asked you about actually was the different themes you've come across.
Exactly. And it's important to know that there is such a thing as psychic sickness, a person who is overwhelmed by psychic visions at the level of the 6th center and not properly grounded in keeping life in a physical body and in a daily life in a good place. I know when I studied Qigong, which has a slightly different way of looking at the centers, but the principle holds, my Qigong master talked about how dangerous it was to cultivate the upper centers if you did not have a well-balanced and developed lower center. It would be like trying to build the top floors of a skyscraper with an inadequate foundation. And again, that reminds me of Jesus' parable about building on sand. Mm. So it is good to be a little bit, I believe anyway, a little bit leery of things that kind of have emblazoned, learn to open your third eye. Well, I would want to know that person had a good, strong third healthy energy at the third and the second and the fourth, all of the other chakras. And when we call them lower, we're speaking spatially, not qualitatively. Every chakra has the utmost capacity to be a channel of spirit into flesh.
I am really glad you clarified this, because I know I have safety issues in my past lives and present life. So I was like, oh my God, that's just the first chakra.
Well, and here's the other thing to keep in mind. There is nothing that I've ever seen in anybody's past life history or in anything I've ever read that says we do these sequentially. That is, the person working on first chakra issues is just beginning. No, a person may have done all kinds of things in the past with some of the other chakras, but this other thing remains to be looked at. So we can move around, so to speak, and there is nothing to suggest that the person working on a fifth chakra issue is further along than the person working on a second chakra issue.
I'm glad you clarified that.
I think it's human nature. You always want to know, how advanced am I? How far along am I? How well am I doing? We can't resist these little quizzes. Are you a this, that, or the other type of person? We all want to know ourselves better. And that's okay, but I think we have to be really, really aware that every one of us has a core that has never, ever fallen from perfection. And a self that makes its journeys into the earth to do a better and better job of mediating spirit into matter. To me, we can say that reincarnation is about the soul learning its lessons, and I would not quarrel with that. But I think it's about something even more important. It's about being spiritualizers of physical matter. Every cell in our body partakes of the consciousness we hold, create, develop. We are spiritualizing factories for matter.
Okay, thanks so much, Lynn. And I was delighted to see how you correlated the different themes with the chakras. I was just delighted with that. So thanks again. Bye-bye.
Thank you. I love that topic.